Yeah, we got some MVHQ legends in here. So even if we don't have a ton of people here quite yet, it might be because it's like 8 p.m. Eastern time just on a Monday. But we got lots of heavy hitters here. So any useful tools will for sure trickle down to the community, and all of these are recorded too. So really appreciate you guys taking the time and showing us all this alpha. Like, that's what we're all about. So we absolutely love it.
Yeah, you guys came early, so I'll screenshot you. So in case we do have a raffle, I know who my specials are. So you guys see my screen, right? What we can do is we can go ahead and get started, and we'll roll through. I'll keep an eye on the chat here. I'm assuming you guys have a chat for office hours. Yeah, so I'll just keep an eye on the open chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a ping in there. It'll catch my eye, and I'll look over, and I'll help answer questions as we go through. And then what I'll do is once I go through different sections of the bot, I might pause in between sections and see if you guys have questions. At that point, feel free to come off of mute, ask me whatever you like, and then we'll roll through it. Quick rundown for myself, for those of you who don't know me or haven't met me yet. So I'm Dak, part of the core team at NFT Sensei. So predominantly I'm working in the operations, project management, and partnership front. So I help a lot with like the beta testing of applications, sourcing information from different alpha groups, different whales, kind of finding out what's important to traders, what's important to kind of Web3 communities right now, and then finding ways to focus and then, for lack of a better word, exploit opportunities to make sure you get the most out of any type of trading opportunity that might come up. We might have Zion join us. I'll keep an eye out for him. He is the lead dev, basically the OG creator of Sensei. So he used to do, for kind of to cut down the story a little bit of NFT trading, and built his own bot where he could snipe specific rarities automatically. Started playing around with different scripts and building out his own mint bot as well. And then looked at kind of simplifying, commercializing almost the process of the different tools that he was building for himself to play with in the market, and finding ways to make it a lot easier for any user to learn and utilize without having to have extensive solidity or bot knowledge. So for NFT Sensei, we have three main components that really break down the usage of the pass and the suite itself, and how you can utilize different sections of it. The main component is obviously the lifetime pass. It's an NFT token. We have 1,500 total supply. About 900, I think, average holders currently. Now, with that pass, regardless of rarity or anything, as long as you hold one, you will have access to NFT Sensei Base. And what that will be is, and I'll show you guys here in a minute, are going to be the main components of the of each of the suite sections here that I'm going to go through with you guys today. So, to be clear, just owning the lifetime pass and doing nothing else, just a regular base pass, will give you access to 90% of what the suite offers. And then on top of that, we have found ways to gate more powerful access, access that you wouldn't want 1,000 people utilizing at one time, and then locking those down to point balances. So what that means is that if you take a look at the collection on OpenSea, there's different rarities of each of the tokens. Each of them are listed right here. You can take a screenshot here if you like. Each of those rarities come out to equal different points. Now, these points can be individual points that you hold or added together, depending on the amount of passes you hold. And the collective total of those points will get you access to these three options here at the bottom. First of which being Deal Sniper Auto Buy. That's simply just giving yourself the ability to put together certain parameters for a purchase on any of the major marketplaces. And say it's like a fat finger, right? The certain tokens trading at 0.2. You want to try to pick someone up making a mistake and listing for 0.02. Well, you could put 0.02 in your bot, have it automatically run with your preset gas. As soon as someone fat fingers accidentally, your bot will purchase it for you. Now, typical users can still do something similar to this just by owning one pass, except they'll have a button pop up that says click to buy. When you press that button, it doesn't require a signature like you normally see in something like NFT Nerd. Since it's in a bot, it's going to automatically send a transaction for you. So it's still faster than something like Nerds, but it's not automatic. So just as a recap, you can get auto buy for 2 points. Otherwise, you have to click a button yourself. Not the end of the world, but the automation makes life a lot easier. Match on pending backrun auto speed up. I'm going to go a little deeper in the match on pending once we go through the mint bot and different conditional layers that we have for running the mint bot itself. Long story short, match on pending allows you to get in the same block as the flip state, meaning you can avoid a gas war, but it's a raffle. So not everyone's going to fit, regardless of how fast your node is. So in the case that you miss it, your gas is going to be too low for the transaction that follows in the next block, assuming it's going to be a gas war. And you're going to lose your opportunity without speeding up. With this functionality for 3 points, you can have it automatically set a backup gas. And if it fails hitting a match on pending transaction for you, will automatically push to that second gas setting and speed it up so that you get to mint it in the gas war. So it effectively gives you 2 chances of every mint using that function, one of which can get you the mint much cheaper than everyone else. And then Mintbot one-click speed up, super simple. It's just using Block Native. It's using an API from Block Native. So if you're running a task with multiple wallets, there's a fancy button that will pop up in your task if you have 4 points or more. And that button is automatically loading Block Native's 99th percentile, meaning if you click this button, you have a 99% chance to get into the next block. So if you click that button while your mint is pending, it'll automatically speed up your priority and your max speed to whatever value Block Native is determining is the 99th percentile. And you can click that multiple times. So if that changes over the course of 2 seconds, you can click it again. But that just gives you the ability on pretty crazy mints, something like Honk from a couple days ago. You might have pushed 100 Gwei, but then it went up to like 350 or something crazy. You could have pushed one button and then guaranteed that mint instead of failing on it. And then we have our subscription models. So there's 2 versions of this, Plus and Pro. And there's 2 different ways of getting access to both of these. One, there's Sensei Plus. You do have to own a lifetime pass to have access to something like Sensei Plus. So the 0.1 a month is only accessible to users who hold the pass. Now, why do we do that? Great question. Let me answer that for you. So we chose to lock it down to ensure that the amount of users that we maintain and hold, while we're testing out some of these new features and playing around with some new things we're building, we want to make sure that even though we're doing a subscription model, we don't grow the user base any larger than it currently is. Main reason being, some of the stuff that we're building and playing with allow you as an operator to run 100 wallets at one time. Giving access to something like a subscription model where you can mint any whitelist as many times as you want. If you're raffle botting, you could have 100 raffles. It can get a little bit dangerous and a little bit more competitive if anyone can just come in and pay for that. So if we lock it down to having to own a pass, we can control that user base a little bit and keep things toned down and not too crazy. So you do have to own a pass to be able to pay this 0.1 monthly and get access to Sensei Plus. What that's doing is giving you access to a signature dashboard. I'll go a little bit more in depth later. It's what I was showing some of you early guys who were on here before 8, but it's a dashboard that allows you to mint Merkle mints, signature mints, or what most people know is quote unquote unbottable mints, the website only mints, directly from the bot with one click. So you don't have to know how to bot. You don't have to know anything. All you have to know is I have whitelist for this and I want this. And then we give you basically a button that you can press that will set it up for you. And I'll walk you guys through that live and show you what it looks like. And then we lock down the raffles for whitelist to that same group. So if you are paying the 0.1 a month and you have the Sensei Plus roll, we have specific raffles, whitelist raffles, just for Sensei Plus members. So that way it becomes an ecosystem of rotation, right? You get the whitelist from the group, and then you get the bot to mint the whitelist, and then it's a cycle that keeps going. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, I am keeping an eye on Office Hours VC. Just open up the chat and shoot me a ping, and I'll answer your questions for you if you have any. And then Sensei Pro is a little bit different of a beast. It's very, very locked down. It's application only. You have to apply to be able to sign up for Sensei Pro, and you do have to be accepted. The reason for this is because we have some, I don't want to call them scary, but they can be scary features, like Katana contract looping. We had like the Zora mint today. They were those cat things, dead cat. They were contract loopable. So even though you could only do 1 or 3 per wallet or whatever, I was able to do this with one wallet and mint 15 at one time with one button because I have a contract looper built in. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you could mint 100 on accident and you could pay, like 50 or zero point 0.5 way in gas or something crazy. Or not, sorry, not 0.5 way, 0.5 ETH in gas and really messed up. So some of the features that we're building out for Pro, and I'll go a little bit deeper once we get into that section, we keep it very locked down. You have to apply, you have to be approved. Once approved, you'll be accepted into the Sensei Pro private Discord, where there are no moderators. The only moderators are the core team, so myself and the three other members of the team, as well as our two additional devs that can help answer direct questions. And you can ping us directly and request VC support, as well as just chat support directly from the team who literally built the bot. So it's a little bit higher level of customer service in the sense too, where if you have issues, you do get priority support. That being said, we also play around with something called precision gas targeting, which basically allows you to choose your pending place in a transaction. I'll show you guys what that looks like here in a second once we swipe over. But long story short, if you have like a super hype mint, there's only a couple left, and there's like thousands of people going over it. Maybe there's only 200 tokens left. You could put like 100 in PGT, and what it's going to do is it's going to look at all the pending transactions. And when you press that button, it's going to take the place of the 200th person and put you in their place. Basically, you're taking their gas settings away, and you're copying them and using them. So you're able to basically just choose your place in pending transactions while you're actually like mid block. With that being said, I want to briefly go over the wallet manager, and then we'll start playing around in the mint bot, and I'll show you what that mint stream looks like, as well as that custom drop dashboard.
Jack, could I maybe...
And while I move over to the wallet manager... Yeah, what's up?
Could I interrupt with just a quick question about the tiers, specifically the point parts, real quick before you go on to show us more? Sure. So when you're talking about the trait breakdown, I saw with the current point allocations on the bottom half, is that like cumulative? So for instance, if I had the gold, right, can I use one or both of those? Like I could alternate between using the deal sniper auto and the MOP backup or backrun?
Oh, it is. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, to be clear, it is cumulative, right? So if you own 4 points, you'll have access to all 3.
Gotcha. So then is there a special thing that only is access for Avatar, or is that just kind of like you're swagging out, you have that extra 5th point?
So it's technically not publicly known because only the Avatar gets the message as the request, but the Avatar gets unlimited free pro.
Oh, there's just like one person who has this?
Yeah, there's one like big avatar that's like the main avatar, the one of one, and whoever minted that basically gets this. The guy's name is Groove, so he gets this for free. Basically pro and everything in the suite. He never has to pay monthly for.
Oh wow, that's insane.
It was kind of like a raffle, but we didn't tell anyone about it until like 6 months in. So a little game theory there. And funny enough, and I swear to God we didn't leak anything, someone bought the avatar like a week or two before we announced the information.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. All right, well, I appreciate it. Sorry to from the wallets, but just wanted to get some clarification on the point breakdown.
No, of course. And anyone, feel free. Shoot me a ping, holler at me, let me know. If you have any questions, anything I go through, feel free to stop me, because some of the stuff we go through might get kind of deep and complex, especially for those who haven't really played with botting before. So if you have any questions, yeah, stop me, and I'm happy to go deep dive on any of the sections we go through. So when you look at Sensei, what we're looking at is the Sensei wallet section of the suite. You'll notice on the left, you have different sections. These are each the main components of the suite, right? You'll notice some new ones that have actually popped up recently, like the BidBot. We just launched that in beta a couple days ago. But the wallet manager is extremely important because it's the kind of the core, kind of the basis of where each of these items are going to interact with. Because you have to have wallets inside of your bot to be able to use any of these tools, right? Now, to do that, you do have to import your private key. So it's up to you if you want to use burners or if you want to use your main. Totally up to you. Obviously, I'm going to tell you it's safe, but I'm from the team. I'm going to be biased. You shouldn't trust me. I'm an internet stranger. But one thing that was very important to us is running Sensei in a web app so that you have full transparency by inspecting elements of what we're doing. So if you do inspect elements and you look into Sensei, you'll find that we never save or store your private keys. Now, there's positive and negative side to that, right? The positive is if we get hacked, No one can get access to your information. Now, the negative side of that is if you want to load Sensei up on another computer, you're going to have to upload all your wallets again. So we did include functionality to export your wallets. So in the case that you decide you want to click generate new here at the top, for example, and make brand new wallets with Sensei, which you can do 100 at a time, by the way. I just made 100 wallets that fast. You'll be able to save them and export them. In fact, if I were to make this new wallet right now, let's make 2, and I click save wallets, it's actually going to download a CSV to my computer. Now that CSV is going to store a list of all of my private keys that I just created. And it's not going to save to my manager until I hit add to wallet manager. So now if you decided, okay, I want to bot on my iPad while I'm out and about, you're going to have to upload your wallets. Well, you can send this file to your iPad on iMessage or whatever. And as long as you can copy and paste the information in this file and paste it into import here, you can import your wallets into other devices. And I know that some users have enjoyed using Sensei on their iPad just because it's nice to be able to bot on the go if you ever have to. Just so you guys know, we don't technically officially support mobile. We just say that because the ratios sometimes add up odd and looks a little bit different. But we have multiple users that use it on their phone as well as their tablets. So you can make it work. It does have Wallet Connect, so you can even connect on like Safari and then use your MetaMask on your phone to connect with it if you really wanted to. Now, with that being said, we have your typical methods like disperse and consolidate here at the top. Don't want to go too deep into these because at their base, they're super simple. You just have the ability from either your currently connected wallet, being your MetaMask, or other wallet, which could be any wallet in your wallet manager, and then choosing to disperse ETH or WETH from whatever your selected wallet is to whatever wallet you check and you select. And you can choose as many as you want. And then we use the disperse, basically like just like the disperse website, it'll disperse ETH from that wallet to all your others. And then similarly, you can consolidate, right? So you can consolidate ETH, you can consolidate WETH, or you can consolidate NFTs. What that's letting you do is from multiple burners at one time, you can either empty out the balance to 0 ETH and move all of your money back to your main wallet, or you can do the same thing with NFT collections. So you could choose the NFT option, for example, and you could choose a particular collection. And then maybe there's 5 burners that you want to move all of that collection to your main wallet. Well, you would just choose the collection, choose the wallets, and then choose the gas and hit consolidate. It'll consolidate all those tokens for you at one time. From this same screen, you can rename the wallets you created. So if you created a new one, you don't like it when it named it, or you decide later on you want to change it, you can do that. You can also reorganize it, just a small quality of life thing. So you can reorganize your burners to be in the appropriate order, however you like them set up. And then one last bit here, we have the groups. Now, this is extremely important for quick tasks, which I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But pre-setting groups of wallets to do specific tasks for you. So you'll notice I have like all, which might select like all of my main burners. I might have main, which might select just wallet 0. But then I have groups, right? Like group 1, group 2, group 3. And if you scroll down, you'll see the different groups, and they're all wallet clusters. So if maybe there's a degen mint that comes out and I don't want to go super crazy, I could just choose group 1 and I only mint with 5 wallets. Or I could choose group 1 and group 2 and now I'm minting with 10. So you can kind of make your own combinations to make sure you're minting the appropriate batches anytime you're trying to be super fast. Makes you act a little bit, helps you act a little bit quicker.
Dak,
and then
go ahead. Sorry.
No, what's up?
I had 2 quick follow-up questions for you. So my first question is, I assume for minting, you're paying gas fees for every wallet, but when you're doing stuff like dispersing ETH to 100 wallets, are you paying gas for every single instance of you sending ETH?
It's one transaction, just like if you were to use the disperse website. So you're paying, it's one transaction, one gas fee, and it's getting dispersed to multiple wallets in that one transaction.
Sick. And then I know you have, I think, a walkthrough coming up of some of the cool minting functionality, but I was curious when you're doing minting with multiple wallets now, how are you integrating NFT Sensei to, let's say, a contract out there or another mint? Like, how difficult is it for our users if they had a degen mint coming out tonight? How could they set it up to link with all these wallets that you're showing here?
I almost feel like you read my mind because that's actually where I'm segueing to. I wanted to make sure you guys understood where the wallets are held, what the wallets are used for, and then I was going to walk you through the quick task functions. That's what you're talking about, like how you guys just integrated dgen mint, for example, in your Discord. Like, how do you quick task from one of those notifications? How do I get from receiving a notification in Metaverse HQ to minting on 100 wallets in 30 seconds? I'll show you how to do it.
Let's go.
But before I do, are there any questions on the general concept of the wallet manager or the grouping functions or anything I covered? Feel free to hit me up in chat, and then if not, we'll move over to the mint bot and start playing with the crazy stuff.
It does look like we have a question from BTC Alchemist. He was saying, opposite of disperse, does the consolidate function pay gas for all 100 wallets in separate transactions?
Yeah, so if you're consolidating, the transaction has to stem from the wallet that's moving the tokens or the ETH, right? So it's going to pay the gas from the wallet that's pulling it out. So if I had my connected wallet address, right, and I wanted to consolidate burner 1 and burner 2, what it's going to do is it sees that burner 1 only has 0.01 in it, burner 2 only has 0.008 in it, right? So if I choose to consolidate these, the bot will do a little bit of math, figure out what the optimal gas will be to empty out this wallet, and then it'll pay the gas and then send you the remainder. So I might get like 0.009 or 0.008 out of this one, depending on the gas fee. And I might get like 0.007 out of this one because they're each going to have to pay a gas fee for that move. Does that answer your question? And the same thing for like the tokens, you'll pay a fee for each wallet that's transferring that token over.
Yep, seems reasonable. I mean, this is from our community. I'm just fielding them for you, but that seems like a reasonable response.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I might have missed that question. I'm looking at office hours VC. Is there another chat I should maybe peek instead? Office hours chat, maybe?
Yeah, we have office hours chat for people who are just kind of hanging out, vibing. Probably we love DAC. We're going to be in there, and then we have guest questions for any burning threads that people want to cover.
Nah, perfect. All right, I'll just keep an eye on that chat then. Easy enough. Yeah, thanks, Joker. It's the same thing as if you were to use like the Disperse website, right? A lot of people used to use the Disperse website back in the day. We're basically running the exact same function. It's almost copy paste. It just makes it a lot easier for you as a user because it's built into the tool you're already using. So it just takes something that a lot of people used to do in the past and simplifies it in one place. It's a big goal for Sensei as a whole, and you'll find that as we go through some of the different sections, and you'll see how they kind of make sense intertwined with each other. It's important to us that each of these main pieces integrate super well in any way that we can to make it a seamless flow, I guess is one way to put it. But you asked the questions like, okay, I see something's minting super fast, right? How do I go from, I see this is minting fast to I want to mint on 100 wallets? Well, there's a million ways to do it. One way is the built-in mint stream. We have it built in. It's going to be kind of like a stripped down version of dgen mint, which only shows you basically the basic important information. Now, this is super helpful because if you have this screen up on a second monitor, say all day, and you're in the Discord group and someone mentions like, hey, these Crypto Skull Legions, they're flying, make sure you get some. I don't have to worry about looking it up. I don't have to find the contract addy. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is be on my screen. I see Crypto Skull is mooning, or not mooning, but they're minting fast. And I just click Quick Task. Well, when I click Quick Task, it's automatically filling out the bot for me. As long as you see a check mark here, you're good to go. You just copied that transaction. And at this point, I just click Group, and I choose my groups. So like I mentioned to you, I want Group 1, I want Group 2, I don't want Group 3, I just want 2 groups. I'm good. Actually, I just changed my mind. I don't want any of these. I'd rather choose individual wallets instead. So I can just go to wallets and I can choose individual ones. And then I choose my node. I can default to Sensei node. That's super easy. And then gas, right? One thing I like to do personally, if I'm doing something like this, like a dgen mint, is I'll press plus 10%. Now, what that does is it takes the base fee currently ran through Block Native, and it's adding 10% to your prio and your max fee. Well, what does that mean? It means you're going to beat all of the people using MetaMask with one button, because everyone who's using MetaMask is doing the base fee. If you press this button, you might pay 5 cents more than them, but you're now prioritized over all of them. So when I click plus 10% and I click add task, I'm good to go. All I have to do is click the task and click start. Now, before I go through some different ways to utilize Quick Task, this is just too perfect of an example. I have to take this opportunity to describe to you guys what Katana contract looping is. So you remember I mentioned it here before in Sensei Pro, Katana contract looping. So you saw how fast I set up this task, right? I didn't have to know anything. I just had to know that these things were minting, and I click button fast. Well, now that I've clicked button fast, I have a gold flashing task. Most tasks don't do this. Most tasks come up jet black. This one flashing gold is telling me that this is contract loopable. So what that means is this is telling me I can just with one wallet mint this as many times as I want. In simple terms, that's the easiest way to put it. So instead of having 5 burners minting 1 each, because this is 1 free per wallet, I can go to edit and I can deselect all my wallets, and instead I'm going to choose Katana. And now that I choose my Katana, I can click my Katana button, and with one wallet, I can mint 25 of these right now. Even though it's only 1 per wallet, and you're only allowed to mint 1 per wallet, I can use effectively a cluster of proxies. I don't want to go too deep into this until later, but effectively trick the contract into thinking I'm minting from multiple wallets, but really what's happening is I'm minting from 25 different proxies in one transaction. So I can mint 25 tokens on one wallet all at once in one transaction, even though the contract locks me to only doing one at a time. And there's a lot of benefits to this, right? For one, if you're contract looping, it tends to be more gas efficient than minting from multiple wallets for a multitude of reasons. One, it's minting one transaction, so it tends to shed off a few gas units on the transaction itself, since it's only doing it within one, effectively bundling it. But in a second sense, you have the obvious piece of there's only one approval. So instead of having 50 wallets that you have to approve for a sale before you list it, you have 50 tokens in one wallet that you approve once before you list. That could save you between 0.001 and 0.003 per token. And when you're looking at 50 to 100 tokens, that's substantial. So again, this is a pro feature only, but it can be overpowered. For example, those, what were they called? Dead cats that were minting. These things, you could Katana loop this. So I had a friend of mine, he minted 30 of them in one transaction, and he paid 0.003 average for each one. He did that by doing what I just showed you. He clicked the Katana button, he clicked 25, and he chose to go. And all he had to do was click start, and it did the work for him. So I just want to super powerful, but it was a perfect opportunity just because it happened to pop up.
I just want to say this is, first of all, so cool, but you are opening up such a can of worms for our community. I know Jinzo's about to be like, yeah, I just accidentally minted 80 of these things. I had the contract loop, and I already see it happening, but this is so cool.
That's what's dangerous. That's why I was saying there's like a screening process, right? Because you could technically accidentally just click 100, right? Like I could just go, oops, and and now I have 100 of these things with one button and one wallet. So it's super powerful, and it can be extremely lucrative. The honks, for example, those stupid goose things that moon for a day, you could have minted 50 of those in one transaction for 0.035 each, I think is what our users paid on average. 0.035. And they were all selling them for 0.08 to 0.1 later on. It's ridiculous, the opportunity on some of these. Just know, full transparency, when I say this, it sounds a lot like everything's contract loopable, and it's not. There's a particular line of code you do have to look for, which if you're not a coder, you don't have to worry. We have a flashing gold bar that looks it up for you. But some contracts, in fact, most contracts, they check to see if the transaction sender, the one who's sending the transaction, has already, say, minted a token before. And if they don't have a specific line of code looking for that, you can just go crazy. And then there's one step even further. I just want to briefly go over before I show you guys some more methods for quick tasking. There's even a loop function. So loop is more like, those mints, and they were more popular back in the day, where you might have an alpha group hit you up and say, hey, this is whitelist. If you mint one and you transfer it to another wallet, you can mint again. And then they called that loopable. If you choose the loop function here, that acts in a similar way, except it does it with only one proxy over and over and over and over again. So if you had like, you know, a certain mint and someone hits you up and said it's loopable in the old sense that you transfer a token out, you can mint again, right? It's only checking to see if you hold that token. You can click that loop button and you can choose as many times as you want. You can loop it 300 times in one transaction if you wanted to. It's kind of just based on the user and their own risk, right? But it basically gives you the power to go kind of just go ham, right? Do whatever you want. Good question, Joker. So when you create a katana task, I'm going to start over and let's just pretend I just now hit Crypto Skull, right? It's flashing gold. If I start this task, Joker, it's going to push it on my katana wallet like a regular mint, right? If I press this button and I click transfer, say on like 10, I want to do 10 of these, it's going to make another one. And you'll notice it has a summary. It says Katana, 10 proxies. I'm choosing the transfer function. So what that means is it's going to mint with 10 proxies in one transaction and transfer all the tokens to my main wallet, all in one transaction. All I have to do is verify, yep, it's 0. Yep, it's Katana. Yeah, it's 10 proxy. Yeah, it's transfer. And if I were to click start right now, it would mint 10 of these for me. I almost want to do just a 3. Do I have enough money in this wallet? Let's see. Yeah, screw it. We'll have some fun. Just so you guys can see what it looks like. And you see these boxes popping up? If my gas wasn't high enough, I could press this button and speed it up automatically to get in the next block. Or I could just type in my own gas. Nah, it beat me to it. You'll have to take my word for it. But if it was pending, I could even type in my own gas there and do it manually. Or I could have pressed that next block button and it would automatically speed it up to whatever this is telling me, the 99th percentile and block native. But now that we see success, if I go view the transaction, you'll notice it's just one transaction. Oh shit! It was 3 per. All right. Well, I have 9 of these now, so I got 3 per, and in the same transaction, it minted all of them, and it went ahead and interacted with the contract, and then it transferred all the tokens for me, and I paid 0.007, and I got almost 10. I got 9. So you guys get a little live demo there. But again, this is for Sensei Pro only. Just double checking chat.
Dude, holy cow! There's a second chat there, Dax, just to make sure. I know office hours chat, but there's also guest questions. I see Bitcoin Alchemist and Crypto Agua have a question, as well as Puenda.
Okay. What we got?
So Bitcoin Alchemist is asking, how commonly can contracts be tricked to use contract looping? So I guess just in your experience, how often do you see that happening?
50% of degen mints, 0% of high-end mints, except for honks for some reason. That one was easy, but I don't think they gave a shit, to be honest with you. But it's hard to quantify because it's just whenever you see the gold, right? I want to say like half of degen mints usually have this, but like most like high-end, like good mints are gonna block this, right? If you have a team that knows what they're doing and they know how to write a contract, they know how to block people from this. But this is really nice when it comes to like Zora mints, all those open editions that people go crazy for. You can mint 100 on one wallet in one transaction, even though it's only 1 per wallet. You can go crazy. Those are like opportunities that are huge, or like these dead cats, for example. Like that was open for like 15 minutes. You could just loop as many as you wanted. It was nuts. And then they sold for like 0.01. That's like a 4x in an hour from pressing 2 buttons. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it seriously is.
Let me see too. Was there another question?
Yeah, we got one from Crypto Agua here. Well, he was saying, sorry if this has been mentioned, but is there an AlphaBot module to enter raffles?
Sorry, no, not yet. Our RaffleBot actually hasn't even been ported to the new UI yet. However, it is still accessible in the old UI. Our RaffleBot only covers pre-mint right now.
Thank you. That is it for our chat. So feel free to keep.
And then, just to confirm for everybody, Babu is right. It is 0.1 for plus and 0.5 for pro. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just take this image and we'll pop it in the chat here. So in case anyone needs it, you can just reference that image there. All right. Any other questions I missed before we move on to something like catchment built in? I think we're good. Nope. Do you guys have an easy tutorial for each function? Yeah, we do have documentation. As well as in our Discord, we have one of our mods recently just posted a YouTube video walkthrough of the bot as well. But the link I just sent in chat is going to be one of your best sources of information.
Is that our friend Seventh Moon?
Yep. Yeah. Seventh is the one who did the video. Myself and Steganography are the ones who did a lot of the write-ups in this in the documentation.
Yeah, he's an MVHQ. He's great.
Yeah, Seventh's a sweetheart. So say you're on catchment, right? And you're seeing something flying that you want. Maybe you're using catchment on the side, right? Maybe this is your volume watcher of choice. Well, we do have integrations built in. So like say this night run by Motto is minting fast, right? And I want some. I'm actually on a 4K screen. This probably looks horrible for you guys. That'll probably be better. And then say I want this. I just go here and I choose which one I want. It looks like they're minting all kinds of different token amounts. I want 5. And then I just click this button, quick task. So now this is a transaction for 5 tokens, and I can multiply this transaction amongst any burner I want, or any group that I want. Maybe I just want group 1. Okay. I'll just choose group 1. I'll choose 10%. I'll add task. And that one's Katanable too. So I guess that gives you an idea of how often we're seeing it on degens. I could loop this one if I wanted to. But it's just doing it on these 5 wallets, right? Maybe I want to add some wallets. Maybe I change my mind. Okay, cool. I'm going to add these wallets too. Great. And you can add wallets halfway through. Then you can run it that fast. But hey, maybe you don't keep catchment up and you're just living your life in Metaverse HQ and all you're watching is that Discord chat coming through. Where do I have access to that chat? Can I do this like live? I've never actually looked at it. Do I have access to that chat you guys just launched on the 13th where it's like catchment volume? Or is that hidden from me?
That is in our VC chat. Why? What's your question about it?
Well, I just noticed you guys launched it, so I was going to show how you could get to Sensei directly from it. I've never actually done it before, but if I can figure it out now, that'll be even more impressive. I'm just trying to find it.
You
guys have a channel with degen volume coming through? The webhook?
Yeah, it's the pending spot. I'll link it for you.
Yeah. Thank
Perfect,
you, James.
Let me just get back to office hours chat.
Just kind of winging it. I've never actually played with it with Sensei before, but I bet you we can make it work. As long as it does at least link to Etherscan.
It does, yeah. Well, it links to catchment. It doesn't link directly to Etherscan.
Yeah, our bot's custom.
Well,
it
that's basically this.
Links to catchment.
Okay, so you can just press the button and it could just take you here then. And you could just click this button.
Yeah, that's it. I'll do you see this link here, the pending spot that I just put in office hours chat? That'll give you an idea of what we have.
Yeah, it's hidden for me. Yeah, no worries. I don't want to waste your time. So let's just imagine it was Etherscan. And it was like this, right? Say it was one of these mints. All right. So I click on it. So even if you're clicking on an Etherscan transaction, so like if you're using something like, I don't know, Ninja Alerts, you could click the Etherscan transaction, and even if it's pending, you can just steal it. Quick task. Wait for your bot to pop up, choose wallets, choose gas, add task, done. You can do that from Ninja Alerts. You can do that from Degen Mint. Basically, any webhook that has Etherscan links to it, it's built into Degen Mint. It's built into the bot as well. And even if you have none of that, and you're setting up a task yourself, maybe your friend's botter, and he set up the task all by himself or herself, and you want to get copied for it, and you want to use that same exact setup as that person, but you don't want to type it all out. Well, you can even click on the task, and you can export it and share it to someone. I think I might have to actually make a task myself to do that. All right, so if I click this task I just created myself, and I made a setup myself, and maybe I don't want to share it with everybody, I can just DM it to a friend by clicking share. And if I click that button and I copy and paste it in the chat, if you were to click that link, it'll take you straight to the Mint bot on your Sensei. And if any of you guys have Sensei, you can test this now. And it'll automatically fill out all the information for you exactly how your friend sent it when they click share. So you can even share a setup that you set up yourself, but want to share to someone else or your group without having to share all the steps of how you did it. It's one click setup. And then all you have to do is choose your wallets, choose your node, and choose your gas, just like we did before. Does that make sense? Beautiful. And I'm going to keep an eye out on these chats too for questions. We're good to go. All right. Any recap needed? Any questions on the quick task or copy transaction piece that we just covered? Basically, long story short is, if you can find it on Etherscan, or you can find it on pretty much any tool, you can usually get it to create a quick task within 10 seconds and as many wallets as you want. So you can go from I just heard about a mint to I just minted on 100 wallets in about a 30-second period is basically the goal. All right, and I see Joker's typing, so I'm going to keep an eye out. I'll circle back once you get finished there. And then in the meantime, I did want to cover creating your own task as well. So if you're setting up for a mint, maybe it's not something that's already minting, it's something you want to prepare for. Maybe it's a particular public mint that's coming out and you know it's going to be a cook, you want to set up for it individually. Well, you can set up your own bot yourself by typing in the information. So you can put whatever task name you want, right? So we can just make this like MDHQ. Then you put in a contract address, whichever one you like. Oh, let's get one in here. And then based off of the contract address you put in, it's going to fill out, all the writable fields that you would normally see on something like Etherscan, right? So if you were to go to Etherscan and you go to write a transaction and you're minting directly from contract, it's going to ask you the same information here. Like in this case, it's going to be like mint. So we want to choose a mint method, mint value, and then mint amount. And then you click generate transaction data. And that's it. That's just setting up the mint part, right? Conditions is where things get fun. So we know that not everyone knows how to read Solidity. Not everyone knows how to set up a flip state or anything fancy like that. So we did create an easy mode. So for those of you who know how to contract mint, but don't know how to look for a flip state or any of the crazy stuff, we created basically a preset that you never have to touch called easy mode. It uses a function called revert check. What that's doing is the same thing that if you were to go to Etherscan and write a transaction yourself and it comes up and it says like 1.5 ETH gas, something ridiculous. You know, it's basically not open because it's giving you a gas error in essence, right? It's telling you the gas is too high because you can't actually mint it. But then when the mint opens up, your gas will then lower to a reasonable number, right? What this revert check is doing is every single second, it's going to ping and check that for you. So it's almost like you sitting at Etherscan and looking at your MetaMask and waiting every second for it to refresh. And as soon as it refreshes and it says the right number, you hit confirm, except the bot's doing it for you without any input needed from the user. Now, if you're a power user and you're ready to get into the crazy conditions, maybe if those of you are already used to botting and you like to set up for maybe super high mints that are around the corner, you can click power. And like anything else in our create and mint task section is dynamics. When I click power, it's going to expand this section out for me and then fill out the space to make it usable based off of the input I put in as a user. The first thing I'm going to notice is there's logic operators and or. Seems a little foreign at first, but it's super simple. What it's going to do is allow me to select or check different conditions and then have them push my task forward or force this transaction through if one of these conditions or one of these conditions are hit. Alternatively, I can have it set up where revert check and flip state must be hit. So you as a user, depending on the circumstance, and I might go through a couple as we go through some of these different sections, you're going to have to choose, is it better for me to have it where one of these options tings it and it's going to force it to go through? Or is it better for me to have multiple of these conditions met for me to feel comfortable to mint? Now you might wonder, when would I ever want to have either of the cases? And maybe there's one generic option that makes sense. Well, it's kind of complicated in the sense where you're setting something up like flip state, and maybe you're new to it, you're not comfortable with it, and you're not fully confident that you've set up the right flip state for the transaction. Well, you can check revert check and have it set on or, so that if for any reason you messed up the flip state and it does not trigger, you're just going to have to mint 1 second later, because revert check 1 second later will check for you and then push the mint for you. So that way, even if you're trying to learn how to bot and set up stuff like flip state, you're not super confident in it, you can even set up your own backup option while you're kind of teaching yourself how to do it. Now, with that being said, for these super heightened mints, you have something like match on pending available to you. Well, match on pending allows you to match the flip state of the contract, or the flip state transaction being pushed to the contract, meaning the owner of the contract, once they're ready to move from, say, lockdown to whitelist or whitelist to public, they must flip the state of the sale. They do that by pushing a transaction. Now, if you know the owner, which you can find by looking in the contract and going to the read section and pulling up owner, you can copy and paste the owner here. If there's more than one owner, you can put as many as you want. It's infinite. You just got to put commas in between them. And then you choose the flip method. A lot of this will be like set paused, for example, or set pause will be set to true, for example, and then that way false. So that way that the set pause has moved over, right? And then once the set paused from this allowed caller has hit this state, your transaction will push. Now the problem with that is if your gas is too high, you do have the ability to front run that transaction. Meaning, if you front run the flip state and your transaction goes into the block before the flip state's actually been moved in the block, well, then there's nothing for you to mint and your transaction's going to fail because you pushed your transaction in front of the person who's flipping the state. However, if your bot can intelligently scan and see what the gas is for that transaction and then match it, you can drastically increase your chances of being put in that same block. And not only that, but minting for the same GUI as the flip state. So this could be the most hype mint of all time, but the flip state is in a block that's only 25 GUI. Well, you only pay 25 GUI for it. The gas war doesn't happen until after the flip state, because that's technically when it opens. And that's when everyone's paying 500 GUI. Well, if you got in with match on pending and you pay 25 GUI and everyone's paying 500, your profitability metrics are a hell of a lot different. And it can be very, very useful in a lot of situations. However, it's a crapshoot. It's a raffle, because there's only so much room in each block. And a lot of really good botters like to do this and play the raffle. So you're going against everyone else who's trying to do this. Sometimes you'll win and sometimes you'll lose. The important thing is the times you lose, you're ready to speed up your transaction for the next block. So that way you can have a chance in that gas war. Now there's two ways of doing that. You can do it manually. By the way, I just showed you. So you saw how I had a pending transaction when I was doing that katana loop for you guys live. And I had the boxes pop up and I could click them and speed up my transaction, or I could go in the little box and I could type in the GUI that I want. Well, if you have back here 3 points or more, you have access to the match on pending back run with auto speed up. Meaning, when I click match on pending, it's going to open up a new section down here called back run and auto speed up. Back run, if selected, which it should auto select, will automatically match my gas to the flip state transaction, raising my odds of hitting in that block. And then auto speed up is going to, based off of my settings here, and I could put something crazy, it will automatically speed up my transaction if I don't mint in that first block and it gets forced over to the next one. So it's kind of like a second chance without having to think about it. But if you don't have 3 points, you can still do it. You just have to do it manually yourself. Whereas if you have 3 points, I could set this up and go get a bite to eat and come back and my tokens are done. And I just find out how much I paid. Did it go through the first way or the second way? Right? Any questions on any of that bit? And I'll play catch up with Joker too before we go through some of these other checkboxes here. Joker asked the top minted collection section in your own module setup to keep an eye on mints happening at the moment. So this top minted collection is basically like Icy Tools or Degen Mint. So it's just copying all of the stuff that's being minted very fast right here. Maybe Zion knows off the top of his head. If you don't mind asking, Zion. Someone just asked if anyone hit match on pending on meme land. I'm not sure personally. I know a lot of people don't always announce it either.
Yeah, match on pending. Meme lands. That was like start of Jan, wasn't it? I honestly can't remember either. You can check in our student wins channel in our Discord.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll link the Discord in this chat too, so you guys can check it out once we're done with the call. But if you check out the student wins section, you'll be able to see, because obviously I'm going to be biased, right? I'm one of the core team members, but if you go into student wins, you can see how people have actually utilized the bot for a lot of opportunities here recently. Naruto asked a good question. What would you say differentiates you from Thunder and other bots? So Thunder, full transparency, amazing team, amazing tool, but I don't like comparing myself or Sensei to Thunders because we're a suite, right? So Thunders is our competition for our mint bot. Sure. They're competition for our signature drops dashboard. But they don't have the contract looping. They don't have some of the wallet manager stuff I haven't even shown you yet. They don't have the deal sniper bit. So it's kind of hard to talk about competitors when you talk about Sensei, because at the end of the day, we're a suite that integrates each of the main components of Web3 trading. So when you look at the mint bot, we might want to compare with Thunders and say, okay, well, Thunders has signature mints too, right? They're the other top signature mint competitor. So they're going to have something like drops here. They also have built-in quick tasks just like we do. Some of the best traders I know use Sensei and Thunders together. But it's all a matter of, paying for the team you trust and paying for the tool that makes sense for you, right? Because at the end of the day, Thunders focuses on mint botting and really signature mints more than anything. That's their main focus. So if that's your bread and butter, well, you probably want to have Thunders and Sensei at the same time anyway. So that way, every single whitelist mint that comes out, every single signature module that comes out, you got double coverage, right? But then you look at something like Bitbot, and then our main competitor there might be Butler, right? Or if I look at the deal sniper, our main competitor, I guess, kind of is Nerds, but we're more of an auto sniper. So I don't know if Nerds would be a good comparison. Maybe something like Cyber Babies would be our competitor with deal sniper. But I don't really know of any competitors that are doing everything that we're doing. So when I think of ourselves, I don't think of us as competing with another group, but rather we're creating a sensible way to easily and effectively and efficiently integrate the entire Web3 trading experience in one aggregated place that is simplistic and fast as hell. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer, and I hope it didn't sound too political, but I think I came to a pretty decent circle around for you, Naruto. All right, and then we have BTC Alchemist. We got all the good questions today. So for backrun, does it set your gas equal or exactly equal to the flip state transaction's gas? Or does it make more sense to set that gas slightly lower than the flip state transaction so you don't potentially front run it? Zion, you might even have a clearer answer than I, but my mind tells me that it's going to be effectively the same gas. Sorry, or do we add a delta of some sort? For match on pending backrun, how does the gas calculation work in comparison to the flip state transaction that's being copied from?
It actually matches the gas because conventional node transaction ordering algorithms will basically order based on what transaction comes in first. So if you have two transactions with the same gas, the first transaction that comes in will be, well, honestly, I could go into depth like quite a lot with this, but
what's the short answer?
Short answer, for the types of blocks that backrunning is effective for, matching gas of the flip state transaction exactly is the most optimal strategy based on the Ethereum code base for nodes. Okay. Yep.
So to answer your question, Alchemist, it matches it, and it makes sense because of block ordering with node speed. That's the short answer. I just translated for Zion.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I mean, we went through some deep stuff, right? I have been a little all over the place, but we're having fun and just kind of going through different sections here. Any questions on like the mint stream, quick tasking, the drops dashboard, any piece that we went through and say like the mint bot in general? Before I go a little bit more into some of these conditions.
Oh, you should
All right, silence means Dax doing great.
Dax, sorry to
What's
hijack. I don't know what you normally say in the emails, but do you show them the total supply trick by any chance?
Yeah, that's what's next. Don't take my thunder.
All right, sorry. Get through it.
You'll notice I'm doing it in order. I'm just fucking with you. So yeah, next up we have timing, right? This is a super simple section. It goes over block time, computer time, and block number. Rarely used, but can be super effective on mints where they don't have a particular flip state. They don't have a specific monitor to look for that's transaction based. It's strictly timing based, and it can be done with either of these 3 times, all settled through epoch. Short version of that answer is you can just look up epoch converter, type in a date and time, hit copy, paste it here. It'll do the work. Most of the time, you won't have to use these, but sometimes you'll find particular mints will use these to trigger their whitelist or public mints. So, contract read call is where things can get interesting for the and method. So, before I mentioned a good or example, now when we move to and, this is where you're starting to look at the degen stuff, right? Say you're watching Catchment and you saw something coming through and it was like 400 minted out of 3,000. And you're like, man, this looks awesome. But I'm not going to be the 300th minter. I don't have balls that big, right? So maybe what I want to do is I want to set it up so when it hits, 2,000 out of the 3,000 minted tokens, my bot will automatically mint for me because I only trust it if it hits that certain number. So I'll just go to contract read call. I'll type in total supply, which I think because I don't have this one might not have that here. Yeah, this is probably a proxy. Well, if we're not working with a proxy and you have a contract read call, you'll have total supply here, right? And if I choose total supply is greater than 2,000, what my bot will do is it will look and say, okay, I will only mint this transaction if A, the bot says I can mint, obviously, and B, because I chose and, the total quantity of tokens minted exceed 2,000 out of 3,000 tokens. So you can kind of degen proof yourself. So maybe you see something going crazy, but you don't feel super confident. You want to set it and forget it. You could just set up greater than 2,000, set your gas. You already have revert check turned on. So I could just go here and maybe I'm comfortable with doing gas at like 1.2 and 22. Well, if I hit save task and I hit start, assuming I had a read call here, I can't do it because there's no drop down. It would only mint as soon as 2,000 tokens are minted, and it knows that I can mint. Same thing for floor price. Maybe I have a whitelist mint and it's like 0.05, but I don't want to mint it unless the floor is 0.1. Well, I can have my bot monitor OpenSea's floor, and as soon as the OpenSea floor hits 0.1, my bot will mint because I've chosen that it will only mint if the floor price is met and I can mint. So you could even profit check yourself and set yourself up to only mint if it's going to be profitable built into your bot without having to think. Amazing for whitelist mints you're not super confident about, but don't want to sit at the computer for 4 hours to watch. It's like the touch grass mode. Any questions on any of these fancy conditional settings? All right, quick rundown on execution. We've already covered most of it, right? Only difference is we haven't talked about the default settings. I'll show you what that looks like in the setting cog here in a minute. But you have the ability to set up a default group of wallets. So maybe you use the same 5 burners for most degen stuff you act on quickly, like me. So I'll set my my main 5 burners on this group, and this is my default that's set up as soon as I mint, as soon as I start a quick task. So that way I know, if something's minting stupid fast and I know I have to get it done immediately, I'll always have these 5 groups, these 5 individual wallets as a group saved as a default. So I can always mint 5 tokens, regardless of having to set up anything, because I know no matter what's happening, I can always be here in the mint stream. I can just press quick task, go down here, hit 10%, and then add task, and then start, and I'm done. That's all I have to do because I set my defaults. And then nodes, I'll show you in settings again. You have the ability to add your own, but you can default it to the one connected with MetaMask. You can default it to Flashbots built in, or you can use our Sensei node. So if you own the Sensei token, you'll get access to our own private node to help speed up your transactions as well. You can even set Sensei node as your default node whenever you're using Sensei, so you don't even have to save the node in your MetaMask. It's automatically built into Sensei and will automatically use the Sensei node for you if you just save it as your default. And then PGT, we already briefly covered. Just to cover it a little more again, this is more, again, Sensei Pro only. Quick disclaimer, Sensei Pro. But it gives you the ability to steal pending transactions. It's pretty broken. So the example I like to give is like, say it's like a public mint. There's like, I don't know, like 2,000 tokens available, right? But it's super hype. There's like 50,000 people that want this token. So you set up PGT. We know there's 2,000 available. So I'm going to put 1,200. I chose 1,200 because what it's going to do is while my transaction's pending, it's going to show me what the 1,200th person in line looks like in terms of their GUI. So if there's 2,000 pending transactions, it will show me in basically ascending or in descending order, the top to the bottom, the highest paid people. And it's going to order them and show me the 1,200th person in place. And then from there, if I click that button, I will automatically speed up my gas to be the same gas as the 1,200th person in line. And then I kick out the 1,201st person. So with the push of a button during a pending mint, I can literally just take a place in pending transactions wherever I want. I just choose the number I'm comfortable with, where I want to be, and then I hit the button. And it'll just speed me up to that speed during the pending transaction. Now, again, this is pro only, just because it's a bit overpowered, because most people just use gas speed up. This is a precision speed up. So it's actually not only looking at block native, but you're also able to monitor all of the other people minting on that same contract, and you can just steal their spot in line. It's a little bit messed up, but it's a lot of fun. EQ asked, do you have onboarding videos available? Yes, in fact, one of your own just recorded one. If you go to the Sensei Discord, we keep it posted in there as well. We do walkthroughs every couple of weeks whenever we put out like a lot of new information and stuff. And then sometimes we'll record those for users to go back and look at later. Seventh just recently doing one. And then if you scroll up, we have docs available as well. That will make your life a lot easier too. We have GIFs in there that walk through what it looks like visually when you're doing different things, screenshots, and then breakdowns of each component and section and what it does. Joker asked, do you guys allow other nodes to be used? You know what? I'm going to show you that before we go through the wallet manager bit here in a second, or the collection manager. So yes, you can use whatever node you want. So you have the ability to go here to the mint bot and choose whatever default node you want, right? Now, if you're one that uses a local node or a private node, you can go to the node section and click add node, and you can put in your own HTTP or WSS URL, and then upload your own private node to the bot as well. Just keep in mind, Joker, that if you're using something like Just Cubes or Trippy or Moonbears, some of those nodes are token locked. So if you have burners in your Sensei that aren't holding a Moonbear, for example, you might not be able to use that node. You probably already know that, but for anyone listening, just a quick disclaimer, something to be aware of. Unless you're using your own private node, then you have pretty much full reign. But it is gonna, just like any node would, check, if it's a token gated one, it'll check that wallet has it. Hope that answered your question, Joker. Sonic, could I speak to the security and potential vulnerabilities of a web app? Well, that's one of the beauties, right? So we don't store any of your private information. But you never, just like anything, you never want to share screen with someone and maybe inspect elements and show what's behind the doors, right? But it's actually safer to use something like Sensei than to mint with a MetaMask wallet, because everything is being done directly from ETH, right? From the wallets directly on chain. It's all done direct. So you're not going to a website. You're not signing something to get access to something so you can mint. You're at the wallet level, basically minting from like Etherscan. So a lot of the times there tends to be less security vulnerabilities minting from a bot than minting from MetaMask. Like even if there's a website that's open and I have only one wallet that I want to mint with, I will mint with Sensei before I mint from a website, just because it feels safer. Just as if you would mint from a contract instead of a website because it feels safer. And then since we don't store your private keys or any of your personal information, even if we were to get hacked at a server level, none of your information can be shared. So Sonic, I think the short answer is the only way you could lose your information is if you share your screen or share something you probably shouldn't in the first place. Now, one thing that's pretty cool, we talked about flow a little bit earlier and what the different flow states of, say, like a trader are. Well, most traders here, I'm assuming if you mint something, the first thing you're going to do is look at what tokens you have, what rarity those tokens are, and then you might pull up a tool like NFT Nerds or Alpha Sharks to look at volume. And then you're looking at volume and then deciding how many of these tokens do I want to list? What kind of ladder do I want to list them at? And what does my time frame look like? I think that's probably fair to say that most traders here, probably their first thought. So let's say you just minted something. Maybe the dead cat's a good example because I Katana minted those earlier. And say I just minted them with my bot. Well, I can go here to edit and I can copy this contract address and then go to Wallet Manager. Well, one thing I haven't shown you guys yet is the NFT Manager portion of the tool. Now, this is really exciting because it's taking every single wallet right here in this list, right? Every wallet that I've uploaded with the private key, every burner that I own, and it's pulling every single collection that every single burner I own holds, and it is aggregating them, showing them in a grid, and organizing them automatically by floor price. Excuse me. Now I can filter this by other means. Maybe I want to liquidate something at one of my burners. I need some extra money, right? I could choose by 24-hour volume. And I can sort these automatically. Or maybe I just minted something with Sensei and I just copied the contract address and I just want to paste it and hit enter. Well, I can pull up that entire collection automatically, right? Now, you also can look through these collections and click on the collection to pull up the tokens. So like here's my montage or however you spell this pass. So I can click on it and I can see all the tokens I have. But if I have something like, I don't know, like this Collective Strangers thing, I think I have 2 of these. So it'll show all the tokens, right? And if these tokens were to have rarity, like Sensei, we pull the rarity directly from NFT Nerds. So what this allows you to do is take that flow state I just mentioned before and integrate it within the suite. So you've already minted with the bot, and now you want to go back and see what you got. So you could zoom in and you could take a look at the different tokens and maybe see what they look like. We're playing around with different ideas on like hover to maybe look at it and see it bigger, or maybe even like gridding views. We're open suggestions, but playing around with ideas. But what's interesting is that it automatically pulls rarity directly from NFT Nerds. If it doesn't pull the rarity or it hasn't been pulled yet, you can rank or index the collection directly from the bot itself. And then you can rank it and pull all the ranks and rarities from NFT Nerds. Well, if you have multiple tokens, you can individually select them or check the box at the top and select every token that you own. And then you can list them all. You can organize these by rarity in descending or ascending order. And then the fun part is you get to list directly from the tool without a single signature, even if you're using multiple wallets. So I can go here and I can maybe take a peek at NFT Nerds. So you'll notice up here, I have the NFT Nerds and the Alpha Sharks button. So maybe I'll click NFT Nerds and I'll look at volume and see what it's like, right? I can be like, okay, we got 5 one-day sales here. We had a decent ladder up until it gets to 1 ETH. So you would maybe want to sparse this out a little further, right? Maybe I shouldn't use Sensei as an example, but you can list out here, right? So I put the listing start price and maybe I put 4 or 0.5. And then I have a listing increment. Well, now I get to choose my ladder. So maybe I want to do a 15% ladder. And you know what? Maybe I can do this with a collection where I have a bit more of these tokens. Oh, I have a ton of these. This is perfect. I minted way too many of these stupid things. Okay. So say I want to just get rid of all these things, right? I could choose all of them. I have like 21 of these left. and I can put in a price of like 0.001, right? I just want to get rid of these. And then I want a listing increment of 15%. And then I get to choose my listing delay. So my listing delay is going to list these as a lag between each listing. So if I chose 5 seconds here, it would list it first, and then it would wait 5 seconds, and it would list the next one. And then it would wait 5 seconds, and it would list the next one, and so on and so forth. 5 seconds is the minimum and the default for all users. However, if you have Sensei Pro, you can literally put 0, which, by the way, is pretty broken. You can have as many tokens as you want on as many wallets as you want. It doesn't matter. We have fancy means to make sure OpenSea doesn't rate limit you. We'll just say that. But after you put in your delay, you get to put in your expiration. It defaults to 24 hours, but maybe I want to make it like 6 hours. And then I choose autofill. Well, what it's going to do is it's going to start at the bottom at my 0.001 start price. And then every single other token, it's going to increase it by 15%, right? And if I'm happy with this, I now just press whichever marketplace I want to list on. So I can list on OpenSea, X2Y2, LooksRare, or Nerds. Or sorry, not Nerds, geez, Blur. So if I choose NFT, OpenSea, and then we go to Nerds, I'm trying to be quick, and we go to date. There we go. Like, it's super fast. And notice I didn't sign a single thing. And if I go back to NFT Sensei, they're just all going to list, except for these, which might have 0 ETH in them. Yeah, I think I emptied this wallet. So you do have to have ETH to approve, but it'll automatically not only approve for you, but then list for you. Let's see, does Sensei auto-adjust the different marketplace royalties to reduce or increase the listing price to match your price? No, that is math you'll have to do yourself, but with each button being individual to itself, you could, in essence, do that math and understand that, okay, if there's a 7.5% royalty on OpenSea and there's no royalty on X2Y2, then I can take 7.5% of my typical profit that I was looking to make and then take that cut and then integrate that as my new start price. But then the 15% is going to move up at the same rate anyway, because it's all just a ratio, right? So as long as you make sure your start price is reflective of your difference in royalty price, and you can do the math on that one, it'll follow by putting that 15 anyway, if that makes sense. But since each one is individual button, you can list on OpenSea and then adjust your price and then click list on X2Y2 to adjust for that royalty difference. And then, of course, you have your quick summary, right? So I can quickly look at this and see that, yes, this is absolutely depressing. I own 21 tokens, and they are collectively worth 0.02. But it's a great way to kind of summarize. So, like, I've been watching these dead cats, right? And I was like, oh, great, how much are these worth now? And the 10 I have left are worth 0.08 now. So you can quickly look and kind of see how much your value is of all the ones that you minted to. Oh, and if you're an Alpha Sharks user, we have an Alpha Sharks button as well. And it's just automatically going to filter for the collection that you're in, right? So it'll just pull up that collection. Crypto Aqua, is there a way to see which marketplaces I've approved and which ones I have not? So if you go to set approvals, yep, you can double check and see which ones are actually approved. However, this one is loading inaccurately. Yeah, this one's loading a little weird. But yeah, you can set your approvals and look at your approvals and double check them. If it's showing up inaccurate like this for some reason, you can just copy it and you can go to your marketplace approvals section and you can double check your approvals on any wallet, any contract address. You just click check approvals on the contract you want and it'll show you. Oh, no, actually, I never approved this one because I haven't tried to sell any yet. That's actually my bad. I was in Dead Cat, wasn't I? We would want to pull up Tag Comics. And if I go to set approvals there we go. You'll see the check marks and it'll highlight gold, all the ones that you approved. So you can see I approved sale on some of my burners, all the ones that I minted with. Hope that answered your question, Crypto Aqua. And then you can manage your active listings here too, right? So if these things are like mooning out of nowhere, I could select all of these, or I can select individual ones, and then I can delist those tokens on the same screen as well. So even if it's multiple wallets, you can see these are all from different burners. I can just individually select tokens, and if something's mooning and I want to make sure I don't sell, I could just delist 5 all at one time without having to go to multiple accounts at once and cancel each one at once. No signatures, nothing extra. Just click, 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 and click. Super simple. At least because of any other questions on listing or the collections manager as a whole? Oh, you know what? You made me think of another thing, Crypto Aqua. You can even preset your approvals before you've minted the tokens, right? So if you're on marketplace approvals, you could even copy and paste the contract address here of a token that hasn't even minted yet, right? Let's assume it's a gas war. You know that you're going to mint a ton of them and you want to sell them immediately, but you don't want to pay the crazy approval fee when gas is 600 Gwei. Well, you can just type in the contract address here, hit check approvals, and then before the tokens have even minted, you can go ahead and approve all of the wallets you want to approve for sale for whatever marketplace you want, again, before you even own the token. So it can make it where you can more effectively, more efficiently make your approval set, so that we don't have to wait right after the gas war and pay a ton of money like everyone else, which again gives you an edge because if your cost basis is down, you can sell it for a lot less to hit your profit, which means you have an edge on all the other guys who are scrambling last second to make it happen. So you'll find everything that we build, as small as it can be, every small little detail, it's always done with a thought of how do I beat all the normies, even if it's just by a second. Each small change, each adjustment, the way each of these items flow together, how quickly we try to make it done between each click, it's all done. So there's no way in hell anyone else can compete with you when something comes up. So as soon as you know there's an opportunity, you can own the tokens in the next 30 seconds. Any questions on any of that good stuff? I see a notification in office hours. Sorry, I missed that one. Oh, I missed SAD. I sent the heart. Make sure I don't miss SAD on the list. All right, if there's no questions there, I'll go over a little bit. I had a little bit of alpha I wanted to share too, because we were talking about quick tasking and different ways they're integrated. We've already integrated with Captionit, but a little bit of alpha. I've actually was talking to the Ninja Alerts team today as well, and then we're working on natively integrating NFT Sensei into Ninja Alerts. So being able to get alerts from all of your, say, accounts that you either copy trade or at least monitor for mint opportunities. You know, if a mint comes in by one of your tracked wallets, imagine a notification popping up and you being able to click one button, and then the next thing you know, you're minting as many as you want. We're playing around with integrations so we can integrate similar quick task functionality like we did with Catchment into Ninja Alerts as well. And obviously it doesn't stop there, right? Like any tool that people use, any tool that makes sense within a trader's flow is a tool that we're interested in integrating. It's really important to us that regardless of the tools that you're using or the different pieces that you're putting together, different pieces you're using in Web3 to get your job done, that Sensei in some way or fashion can intelligently tie or work with that tool. That's why even like an Etherscan with QuickTask, we make sure it's built in. So even if something isn't natively integrating with Sensei, as long as it integrates with Etherscan, you can make a QuickTask happen. So all the integrations we look at now and into the future will always be about how do you save every possible second, and how do you get the information to you as fast as possible, and how do you act on it as fast as possible. Where is Sensei's node centralized, location, localized? All right, so we have a couple nodes, Joker. We spread them all across the world, so that way, regardless of your geographic location, you should have one, I don't want to say close, but relatively close to you. So we keep 2 in the United States, 1 in Europe, 1 in Asia. So regardless, you should be good in terms of your ping of location. The US, we just have 2 because we have more US users. So we wanted to make sure we doubled down on that piece. So if you're on the East or the West Coast, you'll be covered for the US pretty well. Well, Hawaii will just be pinging off the US, which shouldn't be insane. You're probably going to be more throttled by your Hawaii Wi-Fi than your node in Hawaii, to be honest with you. I didn't mean for that to sound like that. Thanks for making that sound bad, Zion.
Oof. Can't attack the internet.
Zion just knows because he's an Aussie and he's dealt with it for years. He doesn't know what good internet's like anyway.
Australia internet's very bad.
Yeah, think about that, guy. Zion built this with slow internet. Just find out what happens when I get him in New York. But any questions on some of this stuff? I do want to go a little bit into the BidBot as well, even though it is in its current beta stage. But just so you guys can kind of see it, it has a similar setup to the Mint task, right? You just add a task, except here you have collection and token bidding. So anyone who already does BidBotting knows there's 2 different types of bidding, right? You have the collection bid, which is the same thing as if you were to go to OpenSea and use their collection bid built-in function, right? Where you can put in one single bid and it bids on every single token in the collection all at one time. Some collections have even gone to choose the trait model where you can bid on particular traits, but that is decided by OpenSea in the collection, so it's not available to everybody. So, a group like Azuki might have it available, but, your random degen might not. So something to keep in mind. However, token bidding allows you to do it at a much more granular stance, where it allows you to look at each individual token one-to-one and look at its rarity, look at its trait values, traits that are on it, or even maybe combinations of traits that you might be looking for. And what it'll do is it'll index the entire collection for whatever filtered pieces you're looking for. So if I wanted to bid on these Metamucil, maybe I'll do Azuki since that one actually has real stuff in it. So if I go to collection and I put in something like Azuki, it'll show me the traits, right? So I can go to type and I can choose like blue, red, spirit, clothing. I can choose clothing, whatever, right? I can choose my filters. I can put in protections for floor price or active listing. So I can put in a minimum or a max floor price. So if it hits either one of these filters, it'll stop my bot for me. And then you can even have it off of active listings, right? So maybe you only want to bid if it's low listings, but if it hits a certain amount of listings, you want it to stop bidding because people are bricking it, right? So you can kind of put in different factors, but this is only for collection bidding. So the standard way of bidding like you would on OpenSea, right? The difference is this allows you to do it in a loop. So you can choose whatever wallet we want to use, and then you could choose stuff like outbid. So it's going to automatically look and see what people are bidding, and then maybe you want it to automatically outbid it by 0.001. Well, you could set it up to outbid, and you could have it outbid by 0.001, right? And then what it's doing is every 15 minutes, it's running it in a loop. Because if you push a bid out, and then you want to cancel a bid and put another bid out, you have to pay a fee. So what we do is we have multiple, in this case, one wallet looping. So every 15 minutes, every time it expires, it'll delete it basically because it expired and then create a new one. And you can just loop over and over and over and over and over again, always outbidding whoever the highest bid is every 15 minutes, right? However, if you go to token, this is where things can get a little bit complicated until you get comfortable and used to it. You can go a little bit deeper. So you can do it based off of traits. You can do it based off of the price that the token is listed. So you can put in a listing range that you're looking for that you want to bid on. You could put in a rarity range from NFT nerds or a token ID range if you're doing something like art blocks, right? And then once you set your filters, what it'll do is it'll allow you to select multiple wallets because we're doing token now, right? We're not doing collection. We're doing multiple wallets. So regular users are going to be able to use probably 2 wallets we'll give to everybody. And then we might do some other stuff for like Plus and Pro peeps. Hasn't been locked down yet, but we'll have an announcement soon on limitations based off of usage. But even just holding a base pass, you'll get some sort of access to the BidBot. Let's say it's 2 wallets, and you set up 2 wallets for your execution for token. Now, what the bot's going to do is it's going to index the entire collection. It's going to attach rarities to each token. It's going to look up all the filters for the traits, all the information. And then based off of the filters that you've set over here in the matcher section, it's going to take these wallets and it's going to split the task up, right? So if I have 2 wallets, it might say, okay, wallet 1, you go cover that group over there, and I want you to only bid on the ones that the user put in as a filter. And then the second wallet, the bot's going to say, okay, great, you go over there on the other side, and you do the other ones. Well, you can imagine if you have a higher tiered version where maybe you're running, I don't know, like 8 wallets, well, you're putting out, a bid every half a second, because each of the wallet can index its own section of the collection and then bid on them individually, or independent from each other. So you have the ability with multiple wallets to kind of act like a tribe, like a group of little minions doing your bidding for you, right? So it's like a group of minions going out, splitting the labor, and then getting it done as fast as possible. Whereas collection is kind of like the more what people are used to doing, like normal people, how they bid. They're going to bid with one wallet one time, and then maybe every couple minutes they're going to try to beat everyone else. Well, if you're doing token bidding, you're basically taking those collection people and you're throwing an army at them. It's up to you on how you want to bid, because it might change based off of your strategy. But if you wanted to be super aggressive, token bidding, it can be really overpowered, especially when it comes to the filters, if you want to be aggressive on particular traits. Any questions on that good stuff? And this is in beta, but if you do pick up a Sensei token, you have access to this now. It's just a disclaimer that it's in beta while we go through some testing, right? But we've already had some winners, so it's been nice to see. No questions on the bid bot. Double checking. Chelsea, you shouldn't be able to DM me. She's a friend. Oh, perfect. You guys have a POAP. Sorry, I'm playing catch up in chat to make sure I'm not missing any questions from you guys too. And I just saw the POAP.
No worries. Yeah, Deck, can't tell you and Zion enough how much we really appreciate you guys sharing this. I'm honestly just blown away. I feel like I usually go into office hours with tempered expectations. And I mean, just from where you guys were last time we spoke to you to just what this tool has become, like I'm so excited. I know you mentioned at the start of the session about maybe some giveaways or something. I don't know if that's what the POAP is for, Poppy, if you wanted to speak to that, but is there anything you have in order for people to maybe try out the tool for a little bit?
Yeah, I've already taken a screenshot of everyone in the group. And I want to take a screenshot of Sad too, because Sad made a point to literally point out to me, hey, I was here the whole time and I just left. So we're going to make sure Sad gets hooked up regardless. But this isn't a ton of people. I'll double check with the team to make sure it's cool. And I should be good with getting you guys all trial runs. I just can't promise it'll be in the same week. We might have to put you guys in 2 groups. Keep an ear out. I'll share with the team today so you guys can put an announcement out by the end of the day tomorrow. And we'll give a nice 24-hour window. But I've seen everyone who's here. I got my screenshots in. I appreciate you guys with your amazing questions and attentiveness as well. And what we'll do is we'll just loop back and see if we can hook you guys up with a week trial and get a chance to play with everything we covered today. Just one little disclaimer. I won't be able to get you guys a trial to pro. So the crazy katana stuff we did live or the PGT stuff that is heavily locked down, it still has to be an approval. But I'll make sure you guys have the information available to you if that's something you're interested in. Just keep in mind that if you want to do something like pro, we do recommend it only to people who have been botting for a while and are confident in it. Otherwise, Sensei Plus will probably hook up 99% of people, and you don't have to know how to bot at all to use Sensei Plus. All you have to know is I have whitelist and I want money and I know how to click button, and it's a beautiful thing. That's what I recommend to a lot of people, but I'll be sticking around. I'm going to keep an eye on this chat too. So if you guys come up with any questions you have in the next day or two, hit me up, shoot me a ping. I'll jump in the chat and answer them for you. And in the next 24 hours, we'll circle back with you all and let you know how this 1 week trial will work. But I'll make sure you guys get taken care of and we'll have some fun. just keep your eyes out and keep you updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a brief reminder, we also have an engagement hub with NFT Sensei team. So if you do run into any problems, feel free to hit the team up there as well.
Yeah, just ping me directly. I'm usually around or know someone who will be. Just shoot me a ping and let me know if you guys need anything ever.
Awesome. Well, anything else, Dak, or are we good to wrap this one up?
That's about it. Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate you taking your time and joining me on this adventure. I hope you guys. I know it might be a little boring going through all the nitty-gritty details, but I hope you guys learned something new today. We've done a lot since day one, made a lot of changes. It might look like a completely different bot, and that's because it is. So I hope our hard work, our blood, sweat, and tears have come through today. It's one reason I like to make sure it's a live demo. It's something I'd like to say I'm proud of, but Zion here, the one who's been muted the whole time, is one who put in most of the work, right? So I wanted to thank him and everybody. I think we put together something pretty awesome.
Dak, couldn't agree more. And you also have lots to be proud of, man. I mean, of all the people that come in here and speak in office hours, you're incredibly knowledgeable, well-spoken, and just did an amazing job showcasing this, especially for a live demo. So thank you so much. I don't think any of the details are lost on this community. Office hours is absolutely the place in MVHQ where people are like really trying to up their game and learn more. I know for me particularly, I just saw a ton of aspects of minting that I didn't even know were out there. So just thank you so much again. This has really been awesome. Thank you to everybody for listening. Always love hosting events with builders and creators. And I mean, this is just remarkable that you guys have been doing this. So thank you so much. Looking forward to building a partnership even further. What's more to come in the future. And yeah, just thank you again. Hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Beautiful. Thank you guys. Hope everyone has a good one. See you next time.